Very glad and honored to be here. And I would like to introduce Mr. Taizo Son, who, amongst other several investments, he's also a part of this great new education startup called Vivita, which has been operating in Tokyo for some time now.
Yeah.
And we will have some more news coming up today.
Yes.
So I'm very glad to introduce Taizo Son.
Hello, good morning.
Come on, guys.
Who are you?
So actually, first time. So I'm Ragnar. First time in Latitude history, we have exclusive news now. This is not planned. It's not a surprise for you, not for us. But first time in Latitude history, we are announcing seed round information, which is not even public yet. Please don't tweet it, because we have not sent the news out. But I'm very happy to actually tell that Lift 99, which we are focusing building founder network in Central Eastern Europe, has closed seed round, with Taizo Son leading the round.
Yeah. We decided to invest in Lift 99 to support the ecosystem in Estonia and also expanding to the Central Eastern Europe.
Exactly. So, basically, the idea is that founders like Taizo, like Ahti Heinla, founder of Skype, and me, how we can help new generation of founders being more successful. So we are building skill-sharing network for founders. And this is what we are basically announcing now. Even TechCrunch don't know it yet. So you are the first audience and first people who know it.
Yay. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And what's even better is that if we are expanding, then we would have big cooperation with not only Mistletoe, but also Vivita. So this is also not only investment, but this is the true cooperation between two entrepreneurs and between two organizations. So I think that now we wake up, yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Ragnar.
Thank you.
But Taizo, please sit down. So as Ragnar already mentioned, Vivita.
Yep.
So it's not only in Tokyo. I understand you have more news.
Yes.
So can you please share the news?
I have another news let me introduce myself briefly first. I'm Taizo Son, born in Japan and the Korean passport holder, but born in Japan and spending more than 40 years in Tokyo. And recently I moved to Singapore with my family, so that we can expand to building an ecosystem for entrepreneurs, innovators in the world. And also, as a serial entrepreneur, last 2 decades, I was heavily involved in the startup ecosystem as an entrepreneur. And my latest startup is the new learning environment for the small kids. Because I have a 4-year-old boy, and as a parent, I'm thinking of the future education. And to be honest, I don't want to send my boy to the traditional educational institutions like schools and so on, because the world is changing drastically, but still the education system is not updated. So as a parent, I felt that I had a huge responsibility to get updated the education system to the new one for the future of the children. So I started Vivita 1 year ago near Tokyo, and then thanks to the great entrepreneurs in Tallinn, we decided to launch the Vivita in Tallinn, here in Tallinn, in Tamkivi. So maybe opening days are not fixed yet, but maybe 1 month or 2 months from now, we will start a new learning environment for the children in Tallinn.
So good news. Vivita is starting in the Tamkivi Creative Hub, and I know you have to be open by the end of July, because Eesti 2.0 will have our summer school there.
Yeah.
So by the end of July, at least,
yes,
it has to be there.
Definitely. So I'm sure that you don't know what the Vivita is. So I prepared a video, which is shoot it in Tokyo. So could you show the video to the audience?
こう点滅で自分のいる場所分かるんですか？
そうそうそうそう。
めっちゃ吸ってんじゃん、すごいじゃん。
よっしゃ。
いや、超すごいこれもう。
Thank you very much.
Great. So I'm sure that everybody who's watching the video was wondering, so why can't we do this at schools? Like, why couldn't education anywhere in the world be just like we saw from this video? So I know, Taizo, that you're not a big fan of rankings or or charts, but I will just bring some numbers because in Estonia we are all very proud of the fact that Estonia ranks third in the PISA rankings, so the 15-year-olds taking the tests and performing really well, and we're just behind Singapore and Japan, so all three countries very important to you. But at the same time, all these three countries rank very low in the happiness index. So I think Singapore, again, is the highest in the 30s, somewhere in the 30s, then Japan is in the 50s, and Estonia somewhere in the low 60s. So how come that we are creating these people, well, the current education system is creating people who are very smart, but very sad at the same time? So what's wrong?
You know, that today's existing traditional education system is designed for teaching the knowledge efficiently and simultaneously at one time and many people. And also the contents of the education is the memory-centric, knowledge-centric. And so the definition of the smartness is memorizing many information and also proposing the right information at the right timing. So that is the smart definition of the smartness. But you know, sometimes the people, children who is accustomed to that way of teaching, that they are very happy. But on the other hand, children who is not suitable for that kind of methodology, sometimes they feel that I'm boring. And I don't want to learn anymore. And school is, I don't want to go to school or something like that. So it's because the education system, traditional education system, is a top-down approach. Maybe some children will be dropped out from that system. That's the biggest issue, in my opinion. So and also on top of it, the AI is coming, the robots are coming. So as you understand, the AI is much better than human beings to learn much information and also providing right answers with logical thinking.
So you're saying that teachers are going to disappear from the classroom and being replaced by robots?
Yeah, so I don't think so, but the teacher's role should be shifted from the teachers to the mentors or facilitators or something like that.
So you yourself are a product of this Japanese education system, ranking the second.
Yeah.
Very important. And now your son goes to a school in Singapore. So just comparing, it's a bad comparison, but if you compare these two systems and what you've seen in Estonia, how would you describe these?
The Singaporean education system, especially the elementary education, the one beauty of the Singaporean one is that there are a bunch of various kind of the options. For example, there are a bunch of various kind of the international schools, like a British international school, American international school, Chinese international school, Indian international schools, and so on, and also public school, domestic schools. So parents and kids can choose the options. So compared to Singapore, the Japanese elementary schools less options. So in the sense, the Singapore one is a little bit better than Japanese one, but both are still top-down approach, in my opinion. So in order to foster the creativity or the collaboration skills, which are very, very important skills living in the 21st century, is that we cannot teach creativity by using a top-down approach. So instead of the top-down, but the bottom-up, so stimulate their curiosity and fostering the freedom of creativity. So those are the very important. So still, Asian education systems are designed for a top-down approach still.
And
So-
by top-down, you mean that there's a teacher in front of the classroom and there's 50 kids,
Yes.
and the teacher is just,
Yeah.
he or
Teachers
she has the
teach,
sole authority to
right.
share
As
information.
an authority that share the information and using the curriculum, and if productivity is a very important KPIs for them. So
I know that many of your Japanese colleagues have been amazed visiting Estonian schools that you have so much freedom in Estonian schools, that there's so much flexibility in the curriculum. But as a parent and as a product of the Estonian school system myself, I would slightly disagree with that. And I have many kids, I see many kids in our Eesti 2.0 projects that who claim that, you know, I'm so bored at school, it's only like 10% new information and the rest of the time I'm just bored. And then actually the learning starts after the school is out. So this is where Vivita comes in, and then they can do and do their own creations and be creative.
yeah. So Vivita is we call it's an after-school program actually, but we call it the creative learning environment, not a school or cram schools or something like that. And it's a completely free of charge. So any children can come. And so providing the environment designing an environment to provide the sense of no limit. So we can do anything. We can create any kind of things. So that kind of feeling is very, very important for being creative. So, I'd like to provide some new option for children and parents to foster their creativity.
But I'm sure you hear a lot of these voices of concern that if you just let the kids roam free, they will go crazy, they will, I don't know, do some explosions and do some other hazardous things. So how do you manage that situation?
Yeah, if it is a dangerous devices, tools, before using it, of course, we are warning to the children, this is a very, very dangerous tools. So you should be careful. But and on the other hand, simultaneously, we are warning the parents that the tools sometimes very dangerous. But how to use that kind of dangerous tools for creativity is sometimes it's very, very important skill and knowledge and know-how for children to grow up. So if it is a very commercial education service, we will make a very long disclaimer, and we will keep the children safe, and so that they can avoid using that kind of dangerous factors. But we strongly believe that we should provide those environments because the real world is kind of full of the dangers sometimes, but very fun. So we should provide the same world to the children.
But as I understand, it's not the children you have to persuade, it is the parents.
Yeah.
That they are the one who carry the generations-long stereotypes, and it's not easy to tear them down. So how do you actually cope with as I understand, it's the parents you have to persuade to bring their kids to Vivita in the first place.
Parents, including me, are trained to avoid the risks, hedge the risks, or avoid the failure. So that is why we are struggling to get learn entrepreneurship to the young entrepreneurs. Hey, you can be bold. You can take a risk. You don't die if you challenge the very bold things. But it's because of the education we got. I met many entrepreneurs in the world for the last 20 years. That the common characteristic of the great entrepreneurs, they are not afraid of the risk. They are not afraid of the danger, failure. So I like to provide the empowerment to the children, which you can try any kind of things with no limit, and then eventually you can make a big things. You can make amazing things, which is supplied by the parents or any other adults. So I like to provide that kind of sense of the wonder, challenge.
Do you believe that you can teach entrepreneurship? Can people learn? We have a room full of entrepreneurs and some VCs as well, but can you please raise your hand who believes that somebody can be taught to become entrepreneurial? So, and the opposite would be you're born with it. So
Yeah.
what's your belief?
I believe as an entrepreneur that that success or failure doesn't matter, because our life is only one time, and so especially at least I like to recognize what is my mission, lifetime mission, and my mission is change the world a little bit better. To bringing the new innovations using the new advanced technologies and so on. So if most of the entrepreneurs think like this, that if we can success, we will do. But if we will lose, we will fail, then we won't do. So that kind of attitude is not mine. So even the success or failure, it doesn't matter. But I will definitely dedicate my life, my energy to create something very innovative things, which will provide good things to the world. So I'm not, in that sense, I'm not afraid of the failure, risk. So just do it, just try it. So, but at least this kind of attitude, this kind of spirit, I'm very happy, very fun to live my life. So I think that is one of the most important things for people to live their lives.
I completely agree with you on the part that that technology actually helps us to tear down these borders that we have created in our heads mostly.
Right.
So I've got a story that I've also shared on the stage before, that when we were doing a Bitcoin computer project it was actually our second project for Eesti 2.0, and that was 10 schools all over Estonia. One from Narva, which in Estonian terms would be a border city. So normally it doesn't exist in Estonians' heads because it's like 95% Russian speakers there. And then we had other schools dispersed around Estonia, and then the teacher was Palatri Srinivasan, was based in California, so we had this online course, and then everybody was trying to set up their virtual machines, and then everybody was struggling, and all of a sudden this guy, Maxim from Narva, says like, how long are we doing this? I'm all set up. Can we just please start building these applications now? So this was a great example how, there's like, your physical location doesn't matter. There's no all these borders are just in your heads. So how would you see the future with the help of these new technologies? You already mentioned that the role of the teacher would be diminished or changed towards becoming more of a mentor and facilitator.
Yeah.
But what other changes would you like to see in the future of education?
I believe I like this phrase that written by the Alan Kay, which is a very famous futurist and researchers and educators, that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. So we can invent the future, and especially children will live a life in the future. So 10 years from now, 20 years from now, children will be the main actors and actresses of the future society. So I strongly believe that we should provide the latest technology, latest design, latest thinking to the young children so that they can enjoy the life of the future. So in a sense, teaching the bitcoins, crypto, or the decentralized applications, so that will be fantastic. And of course, sometimes they struggle and it's a bit harder for them to learn, but it's okay because every new things is very hard to learn, very hard to think, but that is also very good training for us, not only children, but also adults. So because we live more than 100 years, so average lifetime will be the more than 100 years. So we should enjoy the keep on learning and keep on growing up until we die. So in a sense, not only children, but also we should learn adapting the new things and so on. That kind of attitude is very important. So teachers, instead of teaching the old existing knowledge, but together with the children, teachers also enjoying the learning new things. So that attitude affects the children to, oh wow, my teacher is also learning new things, and she or he is so excited to getting a new know-how and creating a new things. Wow, that's exciting. So I will do it. I will do it by myself. So encouraging children to do freely is I think the future role of the teacher.
So currently, I think most of the disruptors tend to be the ones who do not excel at schools. They tend to be the rebels who don't comply with the existing school system. So what you're saying, as I understand, is that we should provide this sort of safe learning environment, that everybody should feel the sense of they are succeeding, if it's just tiny things, but just to get this gratitude.
Yeah.
So that would create more and more people as disruptors of the future.
Yes, I totally agree with you. So in that sense, today's existing traditional education system, gathering the same age, same grade in one place, discriminating from the society or adults, and then learning same things, at the same time. So it's very strange from my perspective. The society, the world is diversified, and from now on, more diversified. And then we have to deal with various kind of people, and exchanging the different ideas, and creating a new chemistry, and come up with new ideas to change the world better. So I'm okay. I'm not the disruptor of the education system, but I like to provide the new environment on top of the existing system that the children can get a good experiences interacting with the diversified people. So
well, that's easy to do in Singapore, which is a very diverse country, but Japan and Estonia tend to be rather homogenic countries. So what what can we do? How do we get more diversity?
The Singapore is a very international, so very diversified. So we can meet many diversified people easily. But Estonia, Japan are less diversified. So that is why I'm so excited to bring in the Vivita together with the Estonian partner. That if we could create Vivita Tallinn, Vivita Tokyo, Vivita Singapore, Vivita Taipei, or Vivita Africa, Rwanda, or something like that, and then naturally using the new technology like a VR goggle or the big screen of the video conferencing, interacting the children interact each other to creating a new things. That will be a good enhancement for children to be diversified.
I think I'm being signaled with a catch box that if there's a question in the audience, then please raise your hand and we'll throw you the box.
We have time for 2 questions maximum. Over here, fantastic.
Thank you very much for your talk. I would like to ask such a question. You tell about interaction with children, but the same problem is with the education of the grown-ups. Maybe it is even worse than with children, because this boredom teaching is killing. Is it possible to put those 2 things together, children and grown-ups, with your system?
Yeah, I totally agree with your idea. So we should mingle every generations to learn new things and interacting each other. So actually, Vivita is not the environment only for children, but the adults, including us. So those who have a very passion to learn something, creating a good environment for learning for everybody. So we are involving all kinds of generations. So, building a community among the children, adults, the grown-ups, elderly people. So in the sense, we are definitely doing that. I agree with you.
Thank you. The last question, please.
Yeah, please stand up. Maria Lorna Kunath from Davis, California. And I'm an educator, but I focus more on the higher education. But I like the concept of Vivita. So you must do a road show in the US and spread the word. Because I know about the Singaporean concept of education for little kids, where they build very high ceiling classrooms, buildings where it's also mixed with nature. So there's a vegetation built around it. Vietnam also has that. So if you combine that concept with your concept, that'll be magic.
Oh, thank you very much. So we are not the franchise, but the community. So we have no royalty. We won't get any royalty or pay royalty to anybody. But building a community. So if someone who is really passionate to building this kind of environment for children and adults and grown-ups, we are more than happy to co-work with those people. So if we find a good guy in the United States or even in Latvia, Finland, or any place, any country, I'm very, very happy to co-work with those guys.
So everybody is welcome to talk to Taizo after this talk is over. And at noon today, you're all welcome to join us at the youth area.
Yeah.
So where Vivita and
Yeah,
Eesti
together
2.0
with
will
you.
be doing a workshop for kids.
Yeah, together with you, we brought a new factor for Latitude 59 that the children, full of the children that is coming to the Latitude. Yes, that's a new thing, right?
Yeah, so children and youth. So from 7 to 13-year-olds and 14 to 19-year-olds, and slightly older people are welcome as well. We don't harass based on age. So thank you all for listening, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.